Thank you, Glenn. Our final featured writer this evening is Roger Breisch. Roger has taught high school. He was a manager for a Fortune 100 company in the chemical industry, owned a management consulting company with his father for 15 years, and most recently ran the Batavia Chamber of Commerce. In the midst of all this professional stuff, Roger chaired the Batavia 4th of July fireworks for 17 years, which, if you've never come to Batavia for the fireworks, you're really missing something. It's a spectacular show. He's worked with teens in an anti-alcohol, anti-drug program for 9 years, and he has spent more than 2,500 hours answering calls on a suicide hotline. More than 15 years ago, Roger began the annual 4th of July American Dialogue to discuss our hopes, fears, and dreams for the community, nation, and the world. Today, Roger loves challenging audiences to see how their thinking prevents them from finding true happiness and success. He and Judy, his wife of 32 years, have 2 grown children, and you can read more about Roger at his blog. It's rebreisch.net. Roger, please.
Thank you very much. After hearing Glenn's story, I'm now also swearing off of alcohol. Thank you very much. I wrote this piece several years ago, but since I admit to my age in here, let's say it wasn't that many years ago. I call it a single day of eternity. As I approach 60, the moment of turning the calendar from one year to the next gives me pause. I wonder if I will have left a legacy. Will I have helped humanity move forward, or might my life have been, as a dear friend once fretted, a throwaway line? I ponder the best way to spend the 365 days I gently step into on January the 1st. In those moments, an image painted by Henrik Wilhelm van Loon in his wonderful book, The Story of Mankind, comes to mind, and I quote, "Up in the north, there stands a rock. It's 100 miles high and 100 miles wide. Once every 1,000 years, a little bird comes to this rock to sharpen its beak. When the rock has thus been worn away, a single day of eternity will have gone by." We live under the shadow of a gigantic question mark. Who are we? Where do we come from? Whither are we bound? Slowly, but with persistent courage, we've been pushing this question mark further and further towards that distant line beyond the horizon, where we hope to find our answer. We have not gone very far. End of quote. I find this image of a single day of eternity compelling. In the face of an eternity this unimaginable, I feel small and insignificant. I recall standing in the presence of the giant sequoias in California and marveling that many have lived thousands of years. Many were alive through the entirety of the current era. They lived through the Roman Empire, the Renaissance, the Middle Ages, and the rise and fall of the divine right of kings. To them, the ink on our Declaration of Independence has yet to even dry. American representative governance, the world wars, the Holocaust, the Vietnam War happened moments ago, and yet even to them, Van Loon's single day of eternity is unimaginable. Then imagine living the life of a mayfly, often less than a single day. As you begin to mature by mid-morning, you're wondering about the species' evolution. You see so many ways in which it falls short of the enlightened state of which you dream. By midday, you're working tirelessly for the betterment of your fellow mayflies. Within hours, as you age, you become distraught because in spite of your lifetime of dedication and effort, little has changed. The species is no less selfish. Its lifespan hasn't increased. There's no less violence between you and those with whom you compete for resources. You wonder if there's any hope for the future. I imagine that species is awed that a human such as myself has witnessed tens of thousands of their generations. We might witness the mayfly and smile. How silly to imagine that in such a short lifetime an insect could actually witness evolution. And I wonder if the sequoia look at us with the same mix of wonder, whimsy, and pity. And yet as humans, we live with the hubris to imagine that in our lifetime, or certainly within a few generations, we will experience the advancement of our species into something significantly new and wonderful. Not only do we expect to have witnessed advances in evolution, we believe we will have personally contributed to forward movement so significant we can actually witness growth. Then as we age, we become distraught because, in spite of a lifetime of dedication and effort, little has changed. The species is no less selfish. Its lifespan hasn't increased. There's no less violence between us, and those with whom we compete for resources. We wonder if there is any hope for the future. If it's naive to expect that my life will make a noticeable difference in the course of human history, what then? How should I decide what to do? How shall I spend the moments I'm given in the year ahead? One answer to that question, and there are many, rests in the flapping of the wings of butterflies. The butterfly effect tells us that in a minute air disturbance in one part of the world can, through a complex and unpredictable chain of events, foster a tornado halfway around the globe. And the butterfly that set that future into motion has no idea of its impact thousands of miles away, or months or years later. The future unfolds based upon initial conditions, an infinitesimally small change in this moment can, as a single day of eternity transpires, allow an entirely new, dramatically different future to blossom. So what I think about as I step into the 365 days that begin on the 1st of January is what initial conditions am I creating in this moment? Is the wisp of air I'm disturbing filled with joy, kindness, and generosity, or anger and hatred? Am I aware of the pain and heartache in the face of the stranger next to me, or am I focused on me and my needs? What can I do in this moment to give the future the very best foundation on which to begin its next day of eternity? My stay on this earth is far too short to witness the impact of the initial conditions I set. So all I can do is have faith that the future will best be served if I serve this moment in the most loving and attentive way I can. So for me, life is a constant struggle to meet and negotiate with each and every moment. As I approach the next, I hope to serve it the best I can as I inhabit it and it inhabits me. And then perhaps I must simply trust that the single day of eternity of which both of us become a part will take care of itself. Thank you.